Hello. Hello, beautiful.
Hi.
Uh,
It's so nice to see your Felix. That is such a beautiful garment you are wearing.
I got into the festive spirit. I the first of every month I download Nitpicks does a calendar, a background calendar,
Yes. Oh my
and
gosh, you've done that since I've known you for 10 years. You've done
it
that.
really it really comes in handy to have a little calendar, and they do it so cute. It's just yarn, and it's the theme. So today's when I downloaded it. It is just like flowers and pink yarn, and it's like 50 degrees outside. It feels like spring, so
It's
I thought
beautiful.
I'd get a little rosy today. So this pinkish sweater kind of jumped out at me.
Yes. You knit that
Yeah.
in Germantown bulky, right?
Germantown bulky. It's such a good little workhorse.
I love
Yeah, I
Germantown.
like this sweater.
From
I
Kelborn
also say
Woolens.
from Kelborn Woolens. Yes. I want to say the sweater is maybe 1 inch too cropped. But I really wanted to only use like 4 skeins of yarn, and I made some decisions that I now regret. But it's great for Zoom.
Yes, there you go. You know,
Great for
I
Zoom.
find that as boob size is in flux a lot of the time, that
Yeah,
sometimes when
that has an
it's
effect.
approaching a certain time of the month, then the crop is a little nope. But then once things
Yeah,
are back
we
down,
got
then
to
the crop's
conflict.
okay. It's
Yep.
tough. There's no amount of swatching that's really gonna help you figure
No.
out that wheelhouse. You just got to experience
No,
it, you know?
you just gotta live it. Yeah, you
Hmm.
just gotta live it. The joys of
Yes.
this, the joys of this lifestyle. I guess lady lifestyle. It's
Yes.
great.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
How I love to be a woman.
Laura, your bang situation is new, and it really works with the headphones.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say it. I thought about that. So yeah, I found a new stylist. Her name is Shiloh. She's here in Chicago. And 10 out of 10. Really liked Shiloh. You can find her on Instagram. But yeah, she, as it turns out, has my exact same hair type. And not that your stylist needs to have that, but man, was our consultation like 3 minutes because she was like, oh yeah, we have the same hair. I was like, yeah. So I want swoopy, not doopy. And she was like, oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
swoopy, not doopy.
Yeah, I had a
Huh.
picture of a time where I was dissatisfied with my bang journey, and she was like, "Oh yeah, well those are micro bangs," and I was like, "Right, that is just a style choice that I personally was not voluntarily making," and she was like, "Okay, I got you." So tough, tough.
You just
That
never
was
know
tough.
who's gonna come at you with scissors when.
And I didn't even make those micro bags. It was really something. But I've learned I'm on the side of TikTok where stylists and clients are like constantly complaining. And I have found that 9 times out of 10, it's the client who's the problem. It's like too afraid to say anything, or didn't communicate well, or came in with like a picture of a 22-year-old woman with like the most dense hair you've ever seen. And they're our age, and it's just like that you don't have the head of hair for that. So you gotta like make sure you find someone you can communicate with. That's the key to me.
Well, I'm surprised you said 9 times out of 10. I feel like it's basically always the person who wants something that doesn't work for them or then complains about what the thing that they asked for
I
that they
think what's
get.
really hard is like I can relate to the client in the like it's hard to be like look at someone who is trained and explain that you're not 100% satisfied and you just like the Midwestern and you just want to walk out of there and be like thank you so much and then you go cry in your car. But they go this further step of crying in their car to TikTok and it gets really messy. So
Well, I cannot relate to that, Laura.
no, I don't think that you've ever had that experience.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, but your caring about hair is on the very low side of the spectrum as well. So that's the case there. But anyway, yes, I'm liking how they're swooping today. So I got the
There
right
was
product.
There was an article this week or something in the New York Times or something about a woman who is about women who have cancer treatments and they lose their hair, and it's the worst part about having cancer is the hair loss portion of it. And there was a lot of bald hate in that email, in that article that I was reading, and I don't really know why I clicked on it. You know what? I know why I clicked on it, because they showed a picture of this woman with this hair, and I was like, oh man, she looks so good. And she just called herself Demon. The whole that she looked like a gremlin the whole time. And I was like, I understand like not having confidence and feeling sick and having that like completely weigh on you, but there was no part of that article that was about just like radical self-acceptance, which I kept reading thinking that that was going to be like the kicker, but the kicker of the article really was just and she's miserable and has cancer, so everything sucks. And I was like, what am I doing here? I didn't need to go on this journey with you. It was sad. It was sad.
That is tough. A lot of things, it turns out a lot of beauty standard stuff is just really, really hard to deprogram yourself from, because not to keep talking about cancer, but a lot of, when treatment is wildly successful for these folks and their hair does grow back, a lot of times it changes texture to be more like my texture. And the majority of people have like a curly, like texture that is often marketed as frizzy, hard to manage, like not well kempt, and it's like you want like sleek and straight because that's all white supremacist nonsense. Like it's just really crazy how many different ways you're not doing it right. So that just goes back to that radical self-acceptance thing. And honestly, that's just the little talk I needed today. So I appreciate that, because I've been having some appearance struggles. We're working on revamping some of our website materials, and I've just been looking through pictures, and that's just not been good for me. That has not been good for me. But I am so happy. I'm so happy. Like every day I'm so happy. So why does that like need to happen? I don't need to sit here and like be meltdown central,
Well, it's that deprogramming that is so hard to do. And
it's so in there. It's so in there.
We have talked about this, Laura, since we started going live on Instagram every day in early 2020, about how it is hard to look at yourself all day
in Zoom. It's tough, man.
Yes.
It's tough.
And like be okay with that. And it's tough.
And some days you aren't. You just some days you just aren't. You're not there. But the show must go on, and you do what you can. But we're doing. Sarah's talking about the kicker too. That I just was looking through pictures to try to find a picture of me at 21, because there's that little meme going around on Instagram. But
so you had to pull out your old Polaroids.
Exactly. I went to my daguerreotype.
People know that.
And
find a picture of yourself. I'd have to log into my Facebook
in those days.
No
that was the problem. I did that, and I was like,
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
It was very cursed.
In years, I'm not.
It was very cursed. But I have to say, like, face-wise, I think I look exactly the same. Like, if you look at my high school picture, like, I look the same. I have gained some weight, but, like, I look the same.
I was recently sent this picture. Here's baby Allyson.
Yeah.
She's obviously got a lot more hair than I do. But
it's like you, but in a doll form, Like you as a doll. Yes.
She's very doll-like. I mean, look, it's the Mona Lisa of babies. This look right here. I mean,
just little cherub
looking at you right
just
there.
A little cherub. I mean, she's a cherub.
If I were my own grandmother, I would take myself to the JCPenney photo booth too. Like I would want this picture. I'm sure my grandma had this in wallet size that she handed out to all the women at the Catholic church that she went to. I mean, Yeah,
Yeah,
look at this cutie. So
incredible. Incredible. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like it's so interesting because they're like minor facial procedures for very young people is becoming the regular. So it's like I haven't altered my face in any way and I wear sunscreen. Like I'm doing okay. I'm looking, it's I still effed up my eyebrows when I was in 6th grade and they just never came back. So I've had this to deal with forever. So this has pretty much been what it is. I just do a bold lip now. I don't know. But
I
it's
think you're
just,
killing it.
thanks. But yeah, the rest of it, I don't know. So some days are better than others, but I will say, just quick PSA to everyone, that like lack of vitamin D for us northern girlies is for real. So even though I've been doubling my dosage, I did go out with a friend for a walk this morning and just got some fresh air and a little bit of sun, and I feel so much better. Oh my gosh. So, just watch that vitamin D intake. Get in the sun if you can with sunscreen.
I always say, get that D. It's important.
That's my whole motto. That's my entire motto for sure.
Number one, you stop getting that D, it's time to find it somewhere else.
Then you got to find it in a bottle, or whatever, wherever the case may be. But boy, that was good for me. It was, it's a lovely day here in Chicago. So finally.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Careful, Elle. Elle is recovering. So Elle, don't, if you're wheezing, mute us or something. Please,
some D.
Please be careful. Yeah, try some D.
Yeah, try some D. It is very lovely out. Royal has decided that we should only be outside today, so he's looking for that D too. So
always on the prowl.
And now he's still just like, why are you in front of this box? We should be outside. I love that for us. Go take a walk. It's important.
God.
Yeah.
It's so boring, but it works every time. The mental health walk, it really works.
Yeah.
For me.
Maybe boring is good. Maybe boring is good, Miss Laura.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It works for me. It doesn't have to be
some time to reflect.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's our preamble.
I like our preamble.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Yeah. I feel like that's healthy. I was looking at myself this weekend and I've got this one dimple. But I was looking at this. I feel like I'm getting a second one.
It can happen.
In my class I was teaching, I was like, and then I was like, oh, you shouldn't do that because people are in your class watching your face move.
Yeah.
So then I stopped doing that. But yeah, these are just the things that you think about when you have to look at your face 8 hours a day.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very strange, but we're doing our best. So
yeah. Laura, speaking of something that is not doing its best, I had a traumatic loss this week.
Oh dear. Well, I don't know to what we're referring, so let me wait. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, those, we are obsessed with beautiful guts in knitting land, but those are not the most beautiful guts, I have to say. That's kind of nightmare fuel.
And this is the other part of it.
Yikes. What happened? Was there a pet instance or just it fell over?
There were a lot of screws that have been falling out. I kept finding screws because there's these screws here. Roosevelt's invested. There's these screws, and it was really tilting. And I was like, man, I got to get this to stop tilting. But then I pulled something, and now I have this. And
that looks challenging. I'm all about repair and mending, but oh boy, the patience level.
Yeah. So I'm debating. Shane's convinced that it will be really violent for me to try to fix that. And he says I should just get a new one, but I really am not into getting a new one. So I got my toolbox out.
I think, well, you're good at recognizing like
The
time
limit.
versus like worth over time. But I feel like that's worth 20 minutes of looking at
Right.
least,
It needs a couple screws. I probably need a second hand to try to line up all those things
Hmm.
to get the top back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I taught so I like to have the sweater on the thing, right? So you can see it. But I taught a black sheep sweater class last night and I had to do this.
Well, I'm glad it's a wood hanger. That's good. But yeah, that's not the signature move. So I hope she has a speedy recovery.
I hope she does too. So yeah, so I'll follow up next week to see. Well, hopefully in our porcelain class on Saturday, she'll be
I'll
back
hold my
together
breath.
and
Yeah.
displaying
Wow.
the porcelain. But yeah, trauma city over here. Yeah, poor thing. So
Big yikes.
that'll be on my to-do list this afternoon. We'll
Well,
see.
that's
See.
okay. That's now we're all invested. So that'll be a cliffhanger for next week's episode,
Yeah,
which we
exactly.
love to
Can
do.
I get that thing back together? Woo, we'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see it. So yeah, that's the cliffhanger for next week's episode for sure.
Exciting.
Uh, so I took a break with the Leelanau,
Yeah,
Laura,
that's okay.
because I had other things to do, but I finally put a sleeve on.
All right. That's exciting. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people here we're at the 1 month mark ish for Leelanau people. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are contemplating breaks to work on other things. But this was a big week for Leelanau in the workroom
Damn.
because we did the big join. So it looks sort of like something, kind of, sort of,
It
a
looks
little
like
bit.
a cute little crab right now, where the
Yes.
arms are the little crabby crabs.
This is the most difficult part of any bottom up sweater is just believing that
Yes.
this is real. Because you're like, well, this is both too short and too long and looks like nothing. And it is very easy to freak out. But you just have to really trust your measurement of the bod. And yeah, it's really so this was all just the big join, and then I'll be starting my decreases for my reglans soon. But that was this looks very unimpressive, but represents lots of work this
Are
week.
you kidding?
So
Last week when we were talking about this, you didn't even cast that body on. And then I
yeah,
think we talked about it again on Saturday and you still hadn't cast it on yet.
yeah, that's true. And for class, I had about this much because I was like, well, I will still talk about the big join and do a demo. And then I had to unknit all of my demo and then work on the
Oh,
body. And then the big join was last night. So that was very exciting. And I was only 1 day late for my update. Of course, now I've got some live
oh
stitches,
yeah.
but
The stitches. There's a lot of
um,
stitches on there right now. Yeah.
so many. So this is always the part I find that the body is incredibly boring. But the knitting around the sleeves and the body altogether is tough. That is another real like patience pain point of the sweater. But then it's very motivating that you get to keep um decreasing because eventually about the eighth time it starts to feel like you're making progress. So I'm excited to be at this point and look how good my guts are. See, these are
Yeah.
less scary guts um, than our poor friend, our poor sweater friend.
You're using worsted weight yarn for that, right, Laura?
I am not, but the pattern does call for worsted weight yarn, but I am using DK weight yarn. I have for the last 2 years just
Uh,
based on availability with where I was shopping. So this is DK weight yarn. It's still a cheating pattern gauge though. It's just a thinner fabric, which is fine for me because this contrast color is a Surrey and a DK weight Surrey blend, and that means alpaca, and it's extra, extra, extra warm. So I was very pleased to have my fabric be on the thinner side because we're going to be putting the sweat and sweater on this bad boy. So this will be my deep winter Leelanau for sure.
Well, based on how much knitting you've clearly accomplished in the last 3 days, Laura,
Yeah.
it's no wonder you felt better when you took a walk this morning.
Yeah, I was pretty locked in, and I made a bad choice with what I chose to binge watch for the second half of it, which we'll get into a later part of the program. But yes,
Teaser.
it is I'm very pleased. It's an update I'm pleased to share with the group. Um so yeah, both of us had Leelanau updates. I love that. I'm so happy to see that you're back to it. I didn't know. I thought
A week
perhaps you needed another week, which would have been fine. But it's great to see.
No, because the thing that I really worked on last week was the body of my
Whoa.
Colette, which is done and really not blocked. But the body is done. Now, I did a dumb thing, and I did a sewn tubular bind off.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it's beautiful, but why? Why did I do that? That
Well, I love it.
Long.
I love sewn tubular bind off
with that sleeve if I did not choose to do this sewn tubular bind off for the sweater. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I wanted to get the neckline on, but then I said, forget it. I won't do that. But look how long this body is. 12
Good for you, man.
Inches long.
So is this one.
Like a real girl length. Yes.
Good for you. That is floor length, I think, for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Good.
so
pretty.
Beautiful. I love it. And I'm loving the orange, of course.
This orange life is a good life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're hashtag influencing the revival
Justice for orange.
of orange. Justice for orange. Exactly. So this felt really good to get off the needles.
Yes.
And then I had to...
Well, I think we've switched places, because I always love to do a tubular cast on and a tubular bind off. But because I let this sit for as long as I did, I was like, I don't have the patience to do 260 tubular bind off cast on stitches. So I did a good old stretchy cast on German twisted. So we've switched identities, I think, which is very funny. But I did do the tubular on the sleeves. And then I have a different one on the body, which is like goes against all things McDougal. And you know what? I survived, and I just don't care. I don't care. So
my general rule of thumb is whatever's happening down there, I don't care about her.
Yeah.
She's just getting the job done. Up here,
yeah.
I care. Here, I generally don't care. Okay, so I did a normal bind off. Here, I did a tubular cast on. Here, and a tubular bind off at the bottom. What a wild journey. This was.
Whatever, man. So yeah, this one I was realizing I did all the same. I did a cast, well, this is a top down, but yeah, I just did a regular bind off for everything, and then a fold over neckline. So I usually keep it consistent, but I just now looked. I don't care. Once it's done, I don't care. So whatever.
Yeah, out of the mind. Out of the mind.
Yeah.
Speaking of
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are good.
Wow. So this is your Paul McCartney for you, yes?
For me. Yes.
Wow.
For me.
So
and
you're using Tilburn Woolen's camper, correct?
Yes, camper. It's so beautiful. I needed to be to this point for my next workroom check-in, which is on Wednesday,
Nice.
because this is where I'm going to put in the bottom of my V-neck right here. So this is 10 inches.
Amazing.
Also,
amazing work.
Yeah. So it's going to be a V-neck, and then I'm going to knit like 2 more inches, and then I'm going to put the armhole steek. So it's going to be a DV.
It's stunning. It's so good. It's no wonder. I think everyone watching has signed up for this class, and if they haven't, they're about to. So it's perfect.
Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So that was the order. That was my order in which I needed to accomplish things. I needed to finish the body of this Colette. Then I needed to get to the 10-inch point of the Paul McCartney. And then I could work my way back over to my Leelanau sleeve. So now I can take kind of a break from my work knitting and just enjoy knitting on size 7 needles, just going
Yeah,
around on that sleeve.
I'm with you. Part of why I had to get to the big join was to free up a size 6 needle that I could start the process of getting ready to join our porcelain. I mean, it's not there yet, but it will be. That's the next to-do list, so I can get a big enough like I can use this to join in the round, to get everything ready for our class on Saturday. And then I can go on to my fun thing, which we could talk about in the next segment. But yes, I'm with you on that like order of operations thing. It's something that I think a lot that I would have been like, oh, that's just a problem for you and I as instructors. But I'm realizing how many students you and I share in various classes. So they're also doing this kind of math. It's sort of the if then thing. So I'm with you. That's exactly where my brain's been. But my 6 is free for the time being, and then it's just going right back in another sweater.
Great. Well, you
Yeah.
needed that. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's take a look at that porcelain again. Laura, it's too beautiful not to gaze at a little
Oh
while
yeah.
longer. Look at
Well,
this.
it's in the mix. You know, it's not looking like much at the moment, but on the back, she's a beaut. I love her. And very much inspired by one of my favorite mugs, some navy and tan earthenware. And that is just like navy and gray earthenware. It's my friend Shelter in Sweatshirt and Old World, which are the two colors that, I think I sold the most sweatshirt color Shelter when we were at Knit One, and it's nothing great, but I love a gray sweater. I love a gray sweater.
We ordered it by the pallet full.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's a good gray. I love a dove gray, and it's like one shade darker than dove, so it feels different. But yeah, I'm just loving it. Beauty beauty. I'm not holding it double, I'm holding it single. It's worsted weight, and it's coming together. She's beautiful.
Yeah. She's good.
I love her.
She's good.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of knitting.
Yes. Yeah. And that will change soon to sewing. I'm doing a lot of sewing planning, but it's knitting season, and my enthusiasm is everyone's enthusiasm, as it turns out. So I'm just gonna keep sticking with it.
Yep.
So
got to. I need these outfits. So
same.
Yeah, gotta keep working.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah, after our live today, Laura, I am just going to take the rest of the afternoon off, which I'm very excited about, and I'm just going to work on that sleeve and see how far I can get. That's my plan. I've been working my booty off all week, and I'm taking the afternoon off. Damn it!
I love it. I am not, but I love that for you. I have Ingrid class tonight, so I have to get my sample prepped and tra-la-la. But I have, I got my steps in this morning. I've got that taken care of. And then I'm just gonna I'm gonna park it. It's time to enjoy some serious couch and screen time with my various craft projects. So I'm very excited about that.
Love it. How's your week been, Laura? What you working on?
My week's been great. Well, it is February 1st as we record this, which means that it is a new month, and a new month of Whip It Out over at Laura Allyson Party, where our two beautiful volunteers, Karen and Maya, kind of lead the world's most gentle monthly accountability program. And so I took a look. Maya announced the number last night a little bit early, which was so kind of her. And the number was 1. And if you are a super fan, you may recall that when I talked about setting up my Whip It Out sheet, which Allyson, could you do, Vanna? Could you demo? This very fabulous challenge sheet. It's numbered.
Mine still looks like this. I will get to it, but just not yet.
That's all right. Maybe that's your square for the month, is to do your Whip It Out challenge. But you can see there are squares numbered 1 through 12. And then Maya, at the beginning of each month, Maya and Karen pull a number at random, and then you work on, assess whatever you have placed in that square. So last month was number 7. And all of the white squares are odd numbers. And so anything that's in a white square, I just wrote the Super Sock Knit Along, hosted by our very own Stepanka. So I did my first Super Sock Knit Along from number 7 that blinded the camera. And now it's Super Sock Knit Along. So I'm in a bit of a fun pickle because I shout out to all of you because that's how my week was. After our live last week, you guys got super excited about classes with me and signed up like crazy, which is wonderful.
That's
But
what we want.
yeah,
That's
and
cool.
starting in March, my Guernsey themed maker work group on Mondays is a go. Everyone's really excited about that theme. And so I wanted to save my second Guernsey sock to make in that group. So I am at a crossroads now where I think I can just start another pair using the theme. So I need to find another two-tone sock pattern that I love, which is the best problem to have. So I'm just going to be flipping through some sock patterns and find something real fun. So I'm really excited to just get out some crazy new color from my stash, wind it up, and get going. So that I'm very excited about.
Nice.
And I feel very accomplished having stayed on top of my whip it out from last month. So I've just been wrapping up month end stuff so that I could get really excited for whatever was coming our way, whip it out wise. So that's what I've been up to.
Nice. Love it. For me, I have been pushing some class signups myself because my materials classes are for my next set of classes that start in March are on Monday. So people love to ask questions about yarn. Yeah. And love that. And people can learn from each other what yarn that they're using for things. So I like to have a class about a month before the class actually starts. So if there are signups between materials class and when the class starts, then I just send that link out so people can watch that. But people like participation. So I'm reminding everyone that if you want to take any of my upcoming classes, materials class is Monday. So if you want to come and hang out with me talking about materials, I will be doing that for 6 classes all on Monday night. It's going to be crazy.
Wham bam.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just pushing. I've got 1 spot left, Laura, in my Colette class. I wonder why. Probably because this is so beautiful and people want a beautiful sweater like this. So 1 spot left. And then I doubt
that'll be the case by the airing of this program.
I know, right? Yes. Come join me. It's going to be so fun. And then I've got a bunch of spots left in like very V-neck raglan class and understated. We're going with V-necks for spring.
We love that.
Might be revolutionary, actually.
I think we've always talked about how there's never enough V-necks. So
never enough V-necks.
There's a lot of crew neck. There's a lot of boat neck, but not a lot of V's. So that's a great thing to tackle in a class. It's a great thing to tackle in a class.
Oh, yeah. So that is what I have been doing. And getting ready for our retreats coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Galentine's is coming up. Sneak peek of the mug, Laura McDougall.
Yes.
Oh my God. She's so cute.
She is.
Laura, how do you know that that's your mug?
Well, there are so many in my house just sitting right here off camera. So, whoop-bam! Oh! But I only did this for me, y'all. So the rest of you just, take your pick.
Well, if you're watching this and you're coming to Galentine's, make sure you bring a marker so that you can just draw your name on the mug.
Yeah. Or just something to just like a poop emoji sticker that you could just stick on the bottom next to the Made in China sticker. Whoops. Yeah, because you're on your own. But
cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Very excited for Galentine's. We had a lot of fun chit-chatting about that yesterday when we were co-working.
Yes. We are planning so many crafts because that's all you want to do on Galentine's weekend is just do all the crafts. So many crafts.
Absolutely. 100%.
So yeah, we're going to be crafting, so talking about that. And then 2 weeks after that, we have sewing retreat, garment sewing retreat with Christine Haynes. So yeah, just a lot of organizing, making piles. The piles started.
Lots of piles.
The packing piles, lots of piles. So yeah, that's been my work focus, I'd say. This week is just kind of getting organized.
Yeah, same. So yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff coming next week that I know we will fill this segment chatting about, but including more Sweater Club dates. So very excited about that, and can't wait to just keep organizing, but after a little bit of time on the couch, if that's okay. If that's okay, everyone. Thank you.
The content's getting out of control, Laura. People also need a break. They need a lot of
content. It's a lot of content. Big deal.
Speaking of content too, we are announcing our next knit along after Leelanau. After Leelanau wraps up. So that's going to be coming next week as well. So get organizing your stash. Ooh, that's a
hold
teaser.
on to those butts and start combing through the stash. Who can say, Maya? Who can say? We can. And yes, Maya has guessed correctly if you are joining us live. So it is now Culture Corner time to talk. I don't know if I should ask about if I should start, maybe. It's tough. I know that it was a tough sporting week.
Oh, yes, my blind.
So,
and I gotta say, though, everybody has been so freaking nice to me about how weird I am about the Lions. It's so sweet. I got messages from complete strangers on Instagram. And yeah, it was very fun watching people get kind of like jumping on the bandwagon of the Lions, which has never happened in my entire life. So it was very sweet, and it was hard to watch them lose, especially since there were just a couple tough plays that they just couldn't recover from, which was tough. But a couple days went by, and every day you get a little bit more like, wow, that was so fun, and less like, oh my God, that was crushing. So yeah, it was so fun. And the thing that I realized too is usually when the Lion season is over, there's still like 2 full months until baseball season starts. So 2 months of just like drudgery and sadness. And now there's only 1 month. Until baseball season starts.
Ultimate gift. The ultimate gift from your Lions.
It was just like, yes. So that was the real, like, thank you guys for making it into the playoffs. It just like bridged that gap between sports so nicely. Yeah. So bless them. And if you jumped on that bandwagon as a lifelong Lions fan, I will say there's room here for everyone. I think the team's going to be real fun next year too. So if you got Lions t-shirts, if you got Lions sweatshirts, keep them handy because you're going to need them next year too. It's still going to be fun.
Well, I don't know if we have shared this particular theory that you had a while ago about where the franchise may not stay in town, but now I feel like there was enough interest where they can stay, which is exciting.
That is exciting too, because I
just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. Yeah, I feel like Chicago is angling for a second football team with the Bears moving to Arlington Heights. There will be a hole in the actual Chicago. And so I mean, there's a lot of speculation out there about what's actually happening with the Bears. The Lions actually being good really was a huge motivating factor for them to stay in Detroit, which I feel very, very good about.
That they definitely should. We love that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're making money because for the last like 27 years or something, they've been the least money. They've made the least amount of money of all of the NFL teams. And eventually that's just bad business. you know?
So Allyson was putting two and two together that there is this historic empty ass stadium on the lakefront here in Chicago, Soldier Field, potential there will be. And
Southside
there
Lions
will
has a ring to it.
yeah, that if that was consistently the story of Detroit of the Detroit Lions before this year, that they could be convinced to move. We've seen it happen a lot in the past decade of franchise
Yes.
moving all around. That all of a sudden the Detroit Lions could be the Chicago Southside Lions, which would be a challenge for your beloved team. But now with this breakaway season.
Yeah.
Who's
So
who's
that's
the
it.
second least performing? Do you know? Curious.
I know. Well, I feel like all those Florida teams have a hard time because they just don't have people like
Jacksonville.
them.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah.
Jacksonville would probably be my guess. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, who knows? Who knows? And who knows what's going on with the Bears? They're just sad all around. So their cities are
Toughie.
fighting. We'll see.
It's
Yeah,
a toughie.
we'll see.
Anyway,
It's not good to look at.
it's just a really interesting point that Allyson made a few years ago that I've been like so curious about. But
I've
now
been sweating about.
it's interesting. It's just
let's
interesting
hope.
to think about. Yeah, for sure. So.
Let's hope that it doesn't flip, right? Because now that the Lions have a good team, they're more valuable, which means that they would be able to be sold for more, which is exactly what's potentially happening right now with the Baltimore Orioles. Their ownership, who was terrible, just got approval to sell a huge portion of the ownership of the Baltimore Orioles yesterday.
The baseball team.
Yeah, the baseball team. So yeah, things are moving and shaking. But you just can't.
We gotta go to Camden.
We got to go to Camden. Yeah. 2025 maybe more.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Dang.
Love that.
Well, you are good sport. Good sport as ever. I'm glad you've had a couple days to process, but it's cool. We could have had a really extra fun Super Bowl to watch, and now we're just having a Reba Usher concert with Reba opener and lots. I just have got to know what Taylor Swift's gonna wear because she's got that whole plane ride from Tokyo to figure it out. Because she's absolutely going to be there. I don't know. Everyone's it's too much of a fun. I'm like, please.
Especially since the MAGA people are getting real up in arms about her. I feel like she likes to just like show up acting like she doesn't know what's going on. So yeah.
People have been chatting a lot about how great her red lipstick is and how it doesn't transfer. And Pat McGrath Labs, everybody, Pat McGrath. That's Pat McGrath is having a huge week in makeup. She also did that beautiful Maison Margiela makeup where she made all of the people look like dolls, like porcelain dolls. Pat McGrath's a freaking genius. So shout out to Pat.
So good. Yeah, I feel like the way that was going on really made me remember what it felt like in the 90s, like being in high school and like waiting for those runway shows because they were like actually cool and actually like full of crazy shit all the time and things that were different. And I feel like that hasn't really happened. I mean, there's been like shows here or there over the past 15 years, but fashion innovation has been Snooze Fest USA for so long. It was very, very, very fun to see pictures of that show going around.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, I love it. That's been so fun.
I will sometimes I just need stuff on in the background, and I like to put on old Terry Mugler runways from the late 80s and early 90s. It's fun. Yeah. So the YouTube is a rich resource for archived older fashion shows. It's very, very fun. And it was great to see.
Then, you had to get your paper out and you had to write a letter. Dear Laura, wow. Yeah. Did you see the runway show on February 2nd, 1982? I certainly hope you did. Please respond ASAP and let me know how you feel about it.
And I said, and then I would respond a week later, I missed the show, but I saw the photographs in a InStyle magazine in a salon. And that is what I saw. And someone had ripped out 2 of the pages. They
And
should burn in hell.
Oh,
Anyway, it was,
time
super
flies.
dramatic, and I loved it. And that has been really just the kind of, so much wrong with fashion industry, tra la la, but man, there is something
Yes.
about that. There is just something about that's always drawn me in, and that theatricality and that embracing of all kinds of artists. Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, real good.
Yeah.
All right, Laura, what did you tease earlier that you made a
Oh,
bad choice watching?
well, I finished my book, The Vaster Wilds, this week. I finished it,
Oh, you
and
did.
as I alluded to, it's very dark and just like bleak, but I loved the writing. I thought it was very beautiful. I'm so glad I read it. I can't sit here and be like, after our whole vitamin D discussion, really say like, get into it, because it is not a fun romp whatsoever. But loved it. I would definitely read more from that author, so I was really glad. But it's a downer. So I thought I had solved that problem because I took your recommendation from last week and I watched Funny Woman on Masterpiece Classic on the PBS streaming app. It was a goddamn delight. It was so good. It was we've already talked about this, but
Yes.
it is what I wanted Mrs. Maisel to be. Just like really great, inclusive, sharp writing, beautiful gowns, beautiful costuming. And it's really hard to get me to root for a blonde. So that is just, if you're not, if she's not Dolly Parton, it's
Especially a
hard.
brunette who bleached to be
Yes.
that blonde.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that actress, Gemma somebody, is just personality plus, and I
Yeah.
adored it. So
I'm
that they
so
did a
glad you
wonderful
liked
job.
it.
That was
I've
just
been
great.
talking about that since I finished it. I think that was so good. All the
Yeah.
characters were so good. There were so many moments that felt so like real, so like
Yes.
well done.
Yes.
The layers of the personalities of all of the characters were so felt
Mhm.
so authentic and so relatable. It was just really, I think it's rare, which sucks, but it's rare to watch a show where you're like, everybody's not just like, Laura, so you used to be a beauty queen. Tell me where did you write? And there's all this like background dialogue that's
Yeah,
so
no.
boring. And so you just like actually see the action, which is what you fucking should be
Yes.
doing with writing anyway.
And they did a great
lovely.
job of talking about the queer experience and the complexities of that. They talked about Polari, like at a glance, which is like incredible, which is like deep queer history. They touch on the Black experience, the immigrant experience, and like it is, but it's not in like an after school special of like, like it's the subtle like jabs to the heart that I thought it was just really well written. So I enjoyed that, but also it's just like, we're in swinging London in the 60s and like gowns. Great. It was so,
Yes.
music is great. Agreed, Linda. Like
it's great. They have a Spotify playlist.
Yep. On rotation.
That I've been listening to. Yes. So good.
But half of those songs have always been on my like year-end list, So I'm like, oh, good. New old music. How exciting for me. So that part, great. But it's a short one seasoner, as Masterpiece tends to do. So then my mistake was I should have kept seeking that content out. And what I did instead was I watched Griselda, the new lady narco show starring Sofia Vergara. And I watched it because I was like, I just want more gowns and wigs and oof. Gang, I don't like shows about cocaine, and I don't know why I did it to myself, but I did. I was very impressed with Sofia Vergara's performance, and I'm used to her kind of
course,
clowning it up a little bit on that Modern Family show that I never really got into. So I really enjoy like her performance. I thought was great, but yeah, I just felt like the writing got so crazy. And it just got crazy, and drugs are so bad. And yeah,
Drug lord
so
shit is wild.
it's awful, and you hate everybody, and it's just like the world is terrible, and now it's over. So that brought me down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like shows about cocaine, Maya. I don't. And listen, it's just my like least gleeful take. But yeah, I'm sorry. Like I don't like shows about meth. I don't like about any hard drug where we root for the drug dealer. I don't. It destroys communities, and it keeps people enslaved. And to this day, is destabilizing governments in South America. Like it's just evil. I hate cocaine. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Hot take. I don't
What
like
a hot
it.
take.
I hate it.
I think cocaine is bad.
I hate it.
I agree with you, Laura. I watched
Not to be so like, just say no, but goddamn. Ugh, I just don't like it.
That preview started playing at me the last time I logged into Netflix, and I thought, God, no, I'm not watching that.
No.
It was really hard to connect with people when Breaking Bad was the thing that I was watching.
It only brought us closer, girl. It only brought us closer.
We did really find other things that were going on during those years, and no one else seemed to find what was going on. Yeah. No one else had a take that
that
something
first
to do with
season.
Breaking Bad.
Because what does that have in common with all the other things that I've ranted against on this show? That I watched one season of fucking Breaking Bad, and what is it? A joyless slog. I hate joyless slogs where I'm supposed to get all excited that people are drug dealers. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And you also hate a thing that gives men a platform for telling you that your opinions are wrong.
Yeah. The number of dates that I've been on where I've been yelled at about not enjoying Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. Sorry. I'm actually not sorry. I like what I like. I like what I like. And you don't have to, but I don't need to be yelled at on a date about it. So, yeah. Fuck Wilco, everybody. Everyone's talking about Wilco now. Wilco, everybody loves Wilco. I'm wrong.
They listen to you. They listen to you when you talk.
I'm wrong.
What's tough about when you have an opinion that is different from someone else's opinion is when they take it personally.
Then you know what that says to me? That they do not have the courage of their own convictions and grow a spine, like what you like, and get out there about it. But if one gal, I mean, obviously charming, beautiful gal, but one gal on a first date doesn't like your thing, if that causes you to like have a meltdown and get into a fight about it, is that thing really good? Is it really performing well on its own merits? Or you have to like defend it so hard? Look inside. Look in your heart.
Look in your heart. Look in your heart. You also should have friends that you can talk to about this if you're really seeking out a person to be like, hey, I really need to tell you my Breaking Bad takes. If someone says to you, actually, Laura, let's do this role-playing game. All right.
Okay.
So I'm a boy.
Okay.
We're on a first date.
Sure.
Laura, wow, you are such a beautiful woman. I am so lucky to be here having a beer with you.
This is going great.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day running multiple businesses to have a drink with me. My favorite show is Breaking Bad. How about you?
Oh, I watched a season of that. It wasn't really for me, but I know a lot of people like it. My favorite show is, at the time this was occurring, it was RuPaul's Drag Race. Have you ever seen RuPaul's Drag Race?
No, I haven't. I actually am a really boring white man who is very intimidated by people having different opinions than I do. But maybe please tell me more about that so I can be more educated and maybe not so terrible in the future.
Well, good luck, sir. We're married now. I hope I will, like, could our second date be going to the courthouse and signing? That's all I needed. Thanks. If this is too much, the third date is the sex date. So, whatever you think. Whatever you think.
Yeah. It was harder for me to make that not as easy to say, oh, wow, cool, tell me more. Because that's how you fucking do a conversation, people.
And that's how we know this is a fantasy show written by two women, because that's not how it goes. It really is that simple. But a lot of cis straight whites are out here being menaces to society and are so insecure that they are very scary to be around.
So mad at Taylor Swift. Oh, it's just very weird. Very weird.
Can you truly, like, the amount of bitching about cutting away to her, like, when for like whatever the grand total was just like less than 30 seconds. Like,
well, I liked that. I can't remember which.
How many Prilosec commercials are you having to watch? Jesus Christ.
Oh, so many. The game where Travis Kelce's brother Jason was shirtless, running around outside of the Jason's was on the screen more and nobody was complaining about that, which made me kind of feel like maybe they're all just gay, and that's why they're mad.
Well, if that were the case,
white woman who sings country music, they want to see a big burly white man without a shirt on.
If that were the case, they would have much better taste and be way more fun. So that can't be it. That can't be it.
They really are just mad when women are around the things that they like.
Well, as Elle is saying in the comments, you cannot spell menace without men. So there it is. But yeah.
What a bummer.
Fuck Breaking Bad. But hey. Anyway, I don't recommend Griselda. I believe it's Griselda. It might be Grisella. That's tough. Griselda Blanco. Yeah. And it's and apparently doing a little bit of reading.
On the PBS.
Yeah.
Pay your $5 a month
so
to PBS.
Crazy.
Okay. They're trying to save the world. So give them $5 of your dollars.
Pay PBS their coin for sure.
PBS.
But what's so crazy about this series, right? The actual Griselda Blanco was a monster, but she was also maybe 5 feet tall, with a very square jaw, and wasn't conventionally attractive, let's say. But because this goes back to our point about the Oscars last week, but because there are so few roles for Latina leading women, this property has been fought over for Catherine Zeta-Jones, and she's not even Latina, played her in a made-for-TV movie.
Explicitly say that Catherine Zeta's been
she's not
taking that Latino money for years.
Yeah, so she got in there first, pissed everybody off. Then J-Lo has been developing this as a movie for 8 years, trying to star in it. J-Lo, and now Sofia Vergara. And then they basically gave her a fake nose and texture, but is her there's nary a fat pad anywhere. I mean, she is smoking hot the entire time with some teeth. They gave her yellow teeth. It's like, I get you were trying to get in character or whatever, but I'm just like, if this is the story you want to tell, I don't know. Get a 5'1" person. It just drives me crazy. Anyway, but the point is to play this.
Win an Oscar.
Right, and to play this monster person, there just are so many more interesting. There should be better roles for you to you shouldn't be duking it out with other high-profile women of color to play this monster. It's such a bummer. It's such a bummer. If we get if we get a movie about this woman too, when there's already several documentaries, I'm just like, ugh, gross.
Yeah. Hot takes from Laura McDougall as usual. And I'm here for it, Laura. Please note that I did not watch that. I have no interest in
You will.
watching that. And I actively listened to you the whole time, taking in what you were saying in a like engaged way.
Well, that's why we're married. Yeah.
Remotely hard for me
For
to
sure.
do.
I just needed to rant, but it's my own fault. Like, this was a choice I made, and I knew I was wrong. But every once in a while, you're just like, I saw like one interview with her on Drew Barrymore, and I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was, watching people get macheted. So, no, thank you.
No. Well, on that machete murdering note.
Yeah, don't do it, kids. Stay in school.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs. They're terrible.
Yeah.
They make you stupid and ugly.
Hot take express over here, but that's how I feel.
That's why you come. That's why you come.
But let's enjoy our afternoon and not watching something about Narcos. And I think we'll have a better day. Yay.
I think so too. Can't wait. All right. Well, we're going to have a lot more shit to do next week. And maybe we'll have less hot takes. Maybe.
I'm not promising anything, but I will see you and all of you next week.
Bye.